Have you ever really thought about how that stuff you buy, the custom shoes you designed online, or even the car in your garage, actually gets made? It's all part of what's called the production cycle. And honestly, it's the engine that drives pretty much all of modern commerce. The story of how we got from these old, clunky, paper-filled factories to the super efficient, smart systems we have today, well, it's an incredible journey. So let's dive right in. Okay, so here's the roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll cover the basics. What even is a production cycle? Then, we're going to take a step back in time to see the traditional factory floor. From there, we'll look at why that old system just couldn't keep up, which will lead us straight into the lean manufacturing revolution. And finally, we'll check out the amazing tech that's building the world-class companies of today. All right, first things first. When I say production cycle, what are we really talking about here? At its absolute core, it's a conversion process. You take inputs, raw materials, people's time and labor, machinery, and you transform them into the finished goods that we all buy. But here's the cool part. There's actually two things happening at once. You've got the physical side, the actual making of the thing. And running right alongside it, you have this invisible information system that's tracking the cost of every single step. And to get the whole story, you really have to understand both. So let's head to our first stop, the way things used to be. For a huge chunk of the 20th century, manufacturing ran on a model that was predictable, it was powerful for its time, but man, was it drowning in paperwork. The old way was basically a four-step process, very straightforward. First, you'd plan everything out. Then, the workers would actually perform the operations to make the product. After that, you had to keep a tight grip on your inventory. And finally, you'd do all the cost accounting to figure out if you actually made any money. It was all very linear, one step after another. And I really wasn't joking about the paper. This entire system was run by a whole series of crucial documents. You can almost think of them as characters on the factory floor, the messengers and the managers, each one with a very specific, very important job. So, first up, you have the bill of materials, or the BOM. This is the master recipe. For just one finished product, it lists every single screw, every wire, every little piece of plastic needed. If you got this recipe wrong, the whole production run was basically toast before it even started. Then there's the route sheet. Now, if the BOM is the recipe, the route sheet is kind of like the factory's GPS. It lays out the exact path. Go to the cutting station for 10 minutes, then to the assembly station for 25, then to the painting booth for 15. It literally maps out the entire journey through the factory. And this is the moment it all comes together. The work order. This is the master command. It takes the recipe from the BEM and the map from the route sheet, puts them together, and officially authorizes a team to produce a specific batch, say 500 widgets. This is the piece of paper that kicks the whole physical process into gear. So, how do you keep track of those 500 widgets as they move around this big, noisy factory? You use a move ticket. This little thing is exactly what it sounds like, an official hall pass. Once a team finishes their job, a supervisor signs the move ticket, and that gives permission for the whole batch to be moved to the next station on the route sheet. It was the key to tracking everything physically. And look, this system was powerful. It literally built the modern world, but it was also super rigid and incredibly slow. And as global competition heated up and customers started demanding more choices, these really deep cracks started to show up in that paper-based foundation. And you know where the biggest problems were showing up? Not on the factory floor, but in that hidden information system we talked about, the accounting. The way companies were tracking their costs was actually pushing them to make really bad decisions out where the work was being done. So, what exactly was so wrong with it? Okay, so the issues were hiding right there in the numbers. For one, costs were often assigned inaccurately, which meant you might think a product was a big moneymaker when it was actually losing you cash. The system also encouraged really bad habits. It made managers look good if they produced giant batches of product because it lowered the cost per unit on paper, even if it meant you had a warehouse full of stuff no one wanted to buy yet. And the data was always late. You'd find out about a huge problem weeks after it happened, way too late to fix it. Plus, it only cared about money, completely ignoring other critical things like product quality or how long a customer had to wait. But the worst part? So much waste, inefficiency, rework, you name it. It all just got thrown into this giant vague category called overhead, where it was completely hidden from view. So out of all these frustrations, these bad numbers driving bad behavior, a totally new way of thinking was born. It was a genuine revolution in how to make things, and it was called lean manufacturing.
And this slide perfectly captures the huge shift in mindset. The old way was what we call a push system. You'd look at a sales forecast, you'd guess what people might buy next quarter, and then you'd push thousands of products into warehouses, just hoping they'd sell. Lean is the complete opposite. It's a pull system. You don't make a single item until a real customer places an actual order. That order is what pulls the product through the factory. No more guesswork and no more giant, wasteful piles of inventory.
Now, this pull idea is built on a few really important principles. You have to aim for perfect quality because in a lean system with no extra inventory, just one defect can bring the entire production line to a halt. You become obsessed with minimizing waste. Any activity, any movement that doesn't add value in the customer's eyes, you get rid of it. You reduce inventory, not just to save storage costs, but because low inventory acts like a low tide. It reveals all the hidden problems on the seafloor. And finally, you have to be incredibly flexible, so you can switch from making one product to another with almost no downtime.
Now, all of this sounds fantastic in theory, right? But how do you actually make it happen in the real world? This is where the modern toolkit comes in. Let's see how this lean philosophy gets put into practice.
Technology was, of course, the game changer. We started in the traditional factory with all these separate, specialized machines. Then we evolved to create what you could call islands of technology, individual computer-controlled machines that were smart but didn't talk to each other. But the end goal and where we are today is computer-integrated manufacturing, or CIM. That's a fully connected, totally automated environment where everything, every robot, every machine works together in perfect sync. And the heavy lifters in this smart factory are probably techs you've heard of. You've got robotics doing the dangerous, difficult, or just mind-numbingly boring tasks. You have computer-aided design, CAD, which lets engineers design and perfect a product in a 3D digital space. And then, this is the real magic, that digital file is sent directly to computer-aided manufacturing, or CAM, which uses that data to tell the physical machines exactly how to cut, shape, and assemble the product. It's a seamless bridge from an idea on a screen to a physical object in your hand. But hey, remember those big accounting problems from the old system? Well, it turns out a brand new way of making things also required a brand new way of measuring things. You can't run a fast, flexible, lean factory using a slow, clunky old accounting system. The goal was to get information that actually helps you improve operations, not just count the beans after it's too late. And this led to two major new approaches. The first is activity-based costing, or ABC. This one is super detailed. It drills down and assigns cost to the very specific activities that go into making something, giving you a really precise picture of where your money is going. The other is value stream accounting, or VSA. This is a bit simpler. It looks at the entire journey for a family of products and just assigns all the cost to that whole stream. That makes it way easier for managers to see the big picture and spot opportunities to cut waste from the overall process. So what's the final piece of the puzzle that holds all of this together? It's something called an ERP system, or Enterprise Resource Planning. Think of it as the company's central nervous system. It takes that pull signal from you clicking buy on a website, translates that into a schedule for the factory, automatically checks inventory levels, and coordinates the final shipping, all in one seamless flow of information. It's the brain that makes the whole lean body move. So why does any of this matter to you? What's the big takeaway? It's that all of these ideas, pull processing, robotics, ERP systems, all of it, this is the reason our world works the way it does now. It's the reason mass customization is even a thing. It's why you can go online, design a product exactly the way you want it, and have it show up at your door in a few days, not a few months. This whole shift has fundamentally changed everything about how we make and buy things. So here's a thought for you. The next time you unbox a new phone or look at a car with a million different custom options, take a second. Can you see the ghost of that old paper-heavy factory? And more importantly, can you see the principles of a lean, smart, and incredibly responsive factory humming away silently in the background, making it all possible?